Starting off today, Congressman Mark Amodei was among those introducing an amendment to sell off public lands in Nevada as part of a massive budget reconciliation package. Well, that amendment being met by some harsh criticism from some Nevada community members and environmental advocates. News 4's Anthony Ramos joining us live now in the studio to explain. Anthony?
Yeah, Joe, this was a last-minute decision from Amodei to help the Trump administration curb what they call reckless spending. And this is part of the House Natural Resource Committee's reconciliation package that identifies what they say are areas for saving and improvement. The problem here is that according to community leaders and advocates, it's a decision to sell off public land that was made by Amodei without public input.
We do not want our public land sold off here in Nevada. We do not want the public taken out of the process, and we will continue to fight.
Local leaders, advocates, and other Northern Nevada community members gathered at the Washoe County Complex on Thursday, speaking out against a recent swift decision by Representative Mark Amodei to sell off public land across the state.
Hundreds of thousands of acres are going to be sold to developers to fund tax cuts for billionaires. And so we're here today to fight back against that and to show that the community does not stand for that.
The decision was made quietly behind closed doors in Washington overnight Tuesday into Wednesday.
Everybody was totally blindsided.
The amendment, part of the House Natural Resource Committee's reconciliation package aimed at cutting wasteful spending.
Nevadans' public lands will be purchased by developers, and then the proceeds will go towards the richest community members in the United States, so they do not have to pay taxes to make this a great country.
Under Amodei's amendment, close to 450 acres of public land across Washoe, Clark, Lyon, and Pershing counties will be sold, generating more than $18 billion in savings, according to his team. Washoe County Commissioner Alexis Hill argues that this amendment doesn't take into account the previously introduced bills aimed at conserving and restoring land.
The Jackie Rosen lands bill, the Truckee Meadows lands bill, had conveyance to our tribal communities, the Reno Sparks Indian Colony and the Pyramid Paiute tribe, for them to use for economic development and tribal needs and conservation.
The biggest disappointment, according to advocates, was the lack of public input.
We are not going down without a fight.
And Representative Amodei sent out a statement today that argues that Nevada populations center around federal land and cannot meet housing and development needs without disposing some of that land. His statement reads in part, "The reality is most of my colleagues don't fully grasp the unique challenges that Nevada faces as a state that's 80% federally owned." The statement does go on to say, for years, folks from my district and even across district lines have voiced serious concerns about how these vast stretches of public land could threaten Nevada's economic momentum and competitiveness if we run out of usable acreage. And this is a copy of that amendment, and inside the amendment I found that the land will be sold through a bidding process that will need to happen within 2 years of the amendment date. So you may be wondering, how does selling this federal land go towards eliminating wasteful spending as directed by the Trump administration? Well, proceeds from the sales, according to this amendment, will be deposited into the general fund of the U.S. Treasury rather than coming back to the state. Live in studio, Anthony Ramos, News 4.
All right, thank you, Anthony. And yesterday, Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen released the following statement in response to the amendment, saying in part, quote, "I'm outraged that Congressman Amodei sold out Nevadans in the dead of night by passing a flawed, hastily drafted proposal that undermines the careful balance struck in the Washoe County Lands Bill," end quote.